Before we begin, I have to thank all of our players for their feedback they gave on this video series. While I can't reply to every message, I did read them all, and I am extremely thankful. I also want to thank all of our heirs who liked or subscribed to our channel as well. Again, I hope this series is helpful to you all, and I thank you for watching. Hello heirs, this is GM Cidd, here with another episode of Cidd's Epic 7 101. This video aims to provide our players with a little bit more information and demonstration of in-game stuff that our players could use as a reference as they adventure through the World of Orbis. In this episode, we are going to cover how debuffs are inflicted and the processes behind it. If a debuff is to be inflicted, just like how damage types are decided, there are a series of processes which determine whether or not the debuff is applied. Well, I can inflict a debuff on my own, but for our convenience, allow me to request a little help from Ms. Otilli, who will happily provide some excellent examples of inflicting debuffs on the enemy. As mentioned in episode 1, in order for a skill with a debuff to be able to inflict a debuff, the attack must hit, unless mentioned otherwise. Once the skill has decided to be a hit, the game first calculates whether the debuff will be inflicted or not with a probability mentioned in the skill description. If the debuff is not inflicted in this step, there will be no text relating to a debuff appearing at all, and the target of the attack will not have a debuff inflicted. If you were lucky enough to successfully pass the first check, there's one more process to go through before a debuff can be inflicted, which is effect resistance. The chance of passing the resistance check or not is calculated by taking 100% plus attacker's effectiveness minus target's effect resistance. However, no matter how high the attacker's effectiveness is, or no matter how low the target's effect resistance is, the resulting number from this formula cannot exceed 85%. This is due to the 15% absolute resistance that all heroes have in most situations. If you fail this check, you'll see the text resistance appear on the target. However, if you pass this process, you'll see that the debuff has been inflicted on the target. Just make sure that the enemy you are facing doesn't have some sort of immunity to the debuff you're trying to inflict. What are some ways you can improve your chances of inflicting a debuff on the enemy? Well, based on what we know, you'll want to take note of elemental properties to reduce the chance of your attack missing. Enhancing your skills is also a good way to increase the probability of landing a debuff, if the skill being enhanced offers an increased effect chance. Having higher effectiveness on your hero will also help, but watch out, since no matter how high your effectiveness is, there will always be a 15% absolute resistance applied, excluding certain situations. Lastly, some skills have a sobering effect that ignores a target's effect resistance. This means that it also ignores a 15% absolute resistance altogether, so be sure to make use of such sobering effects when you really need to land that one debuff in order to defeat an enemy. As we mentioned in episode 1, this video series aims to provide a little bit more information about Epic 7 for players adventuring through the World of Orbis. This guide part is here to provide you with helpful knowledge, and the demo part is here to provide a test zone for builds that you wanted to see in action, but might be unable to try due to various reasons. If you have an idea regarding a specific hero build that you'd like to see in action, feel free to leave a comment on the video, or you can like someone else's comment if you agree with it. Also, remember that your suggestion doesn't need to be a practical one. Anything you're curious about, or something you'd like to see in more detail will be wonderful to hear. If there's an idea liked by many of our heirs that we can recreate in our test environment, we promise to do our best to bring that scenario to life. The more details you give us, the better. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you all liked it. Tune in next time for episode 3, which will deal with how speed and combat readiness works in battle. Make sure to leave your ideas or like other ideas for the demonstration part. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can be one of the first to see our next video. See you all later!